Well, Indians began voting on Friday in the world's largest election as Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeks a historic third term on the back of issues such as growth as well as welfare. Let's get the latest now with our correspondent who's in Delhi, Neha Poona. Neha, a very good afternoon to you. Look, this is the biggest election in human history with almost 969 million people which are eligible to vote. Talk to us about the turnout. I heard scores of people shouting in the back when I spoke to you earlier. What is the current atmosphere as, of course, the biggest election takes place today?
Well, it's a staggering election exercise simply because of the size of the country. India is now the world's most populous country, and while it is home to 1.4 billion people, about 1 billion people will be casting their ballot over the course of the next 2 months. Now, phase one saw an encouraging turnout, the Election Commission says, and the poll bodies referred to this exercise as the dance of democracy, and excitement across the country is high. We've seen reports of voters who are as old as 108 years to the youngest voters eligible to cast their ballot at 18 years turning up from the early hours of the morning. Polling is just about to wrap up, and we've seen long queues outside most polling booths. There have been reports of some instances of clashes between party workers in one eastern province. There was the report of one bomb blast in a region that is struggling to contain internal insurgency. But apart from that, the Election Commission says that it's happy with how things have turned out on day one, and it says it sets an encouraging note for the rest of the 6 phases as well.
Now, we know that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is currently seeking a win, which is a rare third consecutive term win. What are his chances as the country is currently battling the soaring youth unemployment and inequality, particularly in rural areas?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of voters who've been, queuing up outside polling booths have said that whoever wins this election, they're hoping they'll address issues like the rising cost of living crisis, the problem of unemployment, especially among the youth of the country, and also issues like development of infrastructure, particularly in rural India. But, Prime Minister Modi and his party say they're very, very confident. At various rallies over the course of the last few weeks, Mr. Modi has expressed confidence that he's coming back, and that he's coming back with a brute majority. If he does win, he'll become only the second Indian leader to win 3 back-to-back terms, and he's hoping he will successfully make that stab at history. But his critics argue that, he's become an authoritarian leader, that he's cracking down on dissent and the opposition in the run-up to the polls, essentially to skew this election in his favor. We've seen a spate of arrests of opposition parties, and they say Mr. Modi doesn't want them to raise issues like the unemployment crisis, the inflation crisis. But of course, Mr. Modi's party, the BJP, has denied that. They're accusing the opposition of spreading lies, and as far as surveys are concerned, most of them show that Mr. Modi may just win that comfortable majority to secure that rare third term. But, it's a 2-month-long election, so it would be hard to say with confidence today what will happen in the first week of June when results will finally be announced.
I mean, Neha, it's 6 weeks long. I mean, that's a long election period. Talk to us about that. I mean, you just mentioned something very interesting here, of which I'm sure a lot of people were not even privy to. I mean, during the build-up to these elections, what did you see as being some of the biggest contenders that might actually cause an upset for 73-year-old Narendra Modi? And what are they saying are they offering in terms of what is different from what Narendra Modi has offered in the past 3 wins?
Well, Mr. Modi's pitch has been clear. He says that in 2014, when he won his first tenure as Prime Minister, he came to the country with hope that he could prove himself. He says in 2019, when he won his second term, he came to them with a sense of trust, having delivered on some of his promises. But he's saying now, as he seeks that rare third term, he's coming to them with a promise of guarantee, a guarantee which he says will bring India into, that small group of nations who call themselves developed. He says that's the aim that he has for the country, for its 1.4 billion people. He wants every person to live a dignified life with access to basic resources, something that he says is still not guaranteed to every Indian. And he's really promising to better his performance of the last decade. But the opposition, on the other hand, they're making what experts have called more tangible promises. They're promising income support. They're promising a certain amount of job creation if they're voted to power. And they're hoping that that sort of pitch will resonate with voters in the country.